Welcome back to Brush Up Your Game, and today, Wave 16's U.S.S. Dauntless. Now, the Dauntless was kind of this weird ship in Voyager, and, well, now it's a weird ship in Star Trek Attack Wing. It's a 2245. But the named ability is a way to get more attack dice. Each time you perform an action or use an ability on any of your tech upgrades, you place a mission token on this card. And during the roll attack die step, you can spend up to 2 of these tokens to gain +1 attack die for that attack or each token spent. For each token spent. So you can get up to 4 attack dice pretty consistently. Now I say pretty consistently because you still have to find ways to do that. And I've been looking through a whole mess of tech. And there's a few. There's Dominion. There's some Dominion cards. Final stage targeting actually isn't. I mean, it's not a great card, but it's kind of an interesting one. Propulsion matrix could work, but like Chemosite is pretty consistent to increase the speed of your maneuver by 2. Just plan your move short and then jump, and then you got Chemosite to go up. You've got things even like I had it. I mean, auto navigation is there. You get another tech, and you have a skill of 2. And when you reveal your chosen maneuver, you may disable this card to change to any green maneuver on your dial. That could work. Power grid, of course, is always an option. Ion thrusters isn't bad. You can disable to increase by 1. It's not great, but it's a way to get another die here and there. It's kind of like you just want these kind of cheap, easy tech. I like T9 Energy Converter, actually. Disable the card, remove an aux power token, repair a shield. That can work fairly consistently. There's Chemosite, like I mentioned. But there were a couple of other good ones. Actually, impulse efficiency would be pretty consistent. Improved hull plating should also work quite often when defending during modified attack die step. Convert a crit into a hit. You got to think that's going to happen a decent amount. And I mean, I could go on, but my point there is I think there's becoming more and more tech that work passively, and that's what you want here. You don't want a lot of action tech. You want passive tech, and I don't think that's enough to make Dauntless great. I don't even know that that's enough to make it good, but I think there's enough to make it playable, and from that standpoint, I can see it working. The maneuver dial's not great, but it's not bad. It gets a 5 straight. Given the slipstream tech that it came with, would have been nice to see a 6, but I understand it. I'll take 2 white turns as a trade-off. 90 forward only, no rear arc hurts, but what you gonna do? Generic, I don't see any point in running this at all. There's nothing nice about it, and with only 3 tech slots, again, not there for me. Arturis, skill 3 captain for 5 points. He should be an 8. This should be an exception to rule of 3. I will go down swinging on this. It's a hill that I want to put up a fight on. Because he's meant to be skill 8 if he's on a Dauntless. There's a Captain Tombstone for him to be skill 8. Not skill 6. But anyway, action, target a ship at range 2 to 3. Disable either the captain card or up to 2 crew upgrades on the target ship. Place an Ox power token beside your ship. It's not a great trade-off for just the captain. For 2 crew, it can work. Um, Slightly thematic. I'll take it from that standpoint, but mostly I just kind of sit there and I go, oh, why? Such wasted potential on this. Lure, on the other hand, is still one of the best talents in the game. 5-point talent, unique, of course. And during the planning phase, after everybody's set their moves, you discard the card, target an enemy ship that's not within range 1 to 3, and then you get to change the ship's maneuver dial to any green move. You can't fly them off the board, but and you can't bump them into somebody else. And if you do, they don't move. Lots of good strategic options with it. Lure's still a fantastic card, and hard to go wrong with it. Emergency Shutdown is a 3-point talent, and we don't hear much about it. During the activation phase, before you move, you may discard this card to disregard your chosen maneuver and not move. And that would be fine. The problem is this card continues. If you do so, you lose your perform action step for that round. So you really are shutting everything down, including your ability to get any kind of quality. I suppose if you have a target lock from a prior round, this isn't the worst card you could use. But more often than not, this is a waste. This is something you look at and you go, that just too much of a price for me to pay. And because of that, it ends up being a card I don't go to. Maybe if it was a point cheaper, maybe if it was even 2 points cheaper, if it was down to a 1-point card, I'd look at it and I'd go, yeah, I could make that work. But as it stands, I'm not paying 3 for it. Quantum Slipstream Drive. This is a 6-point card, and it's a doozy. If you reveal a maneuver with a speed of 5 or more, so basically at 5, before moving, you can discard this card, pick your ship up, discard all tokens except for Ox Power, then immediately place it back in your play area, but not within range 1 to 3 of any other ship. You can't attack, and it works okay. It breaks missions. It kind of ruins the fun. But as far as these jump disappear cards go, because you don't get to move, you don't get to take an action. Well, I guess you do get to take an action, but you're coming back and you're not within range. So there's really not much you're going to be able to do. I know there's ways you can make this work. Janice Rand, for instance, would get you a free action to do something else. McCoy could also do some things. You wouldn't put this on Dauntless because you need crew slots to get some extra stuff to work. But there's some weird potential with it if you're really trying to break things. Obviously, it's banned under warp jump-like effects. But in terms of a card that could be used for fun and to do some things to mess with your opponent, this one's there. A particle synthesis is a 5-point tech, and it's an action: disable and discard one of your tech upgrades. Oh, that's pricey. And for your trouble, you get to repair either 1 damage to your hull or 2 shields. And you can only buy this on the Dauntless class ship. That's too rich for my blood. Just, even with cheaper tech coming into existence, I find myself only bringing tech that matters. I suppose I might bring like a reinforced hull reinforced shields. And then I've lost so many shields that even repairing 2, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to get back up to the number that reinforced shields allows. So this becomes worth it but that's never my plan, and that's a lot of points to be throwing out. And certainly not a card I'm going to be using repeatedly, so the disable part of this card holds no appeal for me whatsoever. Navigational Deflector. This is a 4-point tech. And when taking damage this round, you can discard this card to cancel a hit. Ooh, yay, it's an evade. Granted, it's an after-the-fact evade, and it can be used with an evade. If the damage is from a minefield or an obstacle, you can disable the card instead. Ooh, now it really is an evade because it's an action to ever use it again. Now here's the good news. You can roll defense dice against obstacles or minefields. Obstacles, that's very helpful because typically obstacles are only putting out 1 damage. So getting defense dice against that, is, especially if you're rolling like 2 defense dice, gives you a chance. 3, much more of a chance. So that standpoint, decently good. Minefields, tougher to put into play, but or to get enough defense dice for it to really matter. But I could still see it working. I just don't know that I care. I don't know that there's enough need to defend against minefields. Because it's not like anyone's running multi-kinetic neutronic mines, the Borg one. It's not like anyone's running antimatter mines. But Navigational Deflector gives you some defense against cloaked mines if you are really up against it and you got some points to spare. It's a choice for you. Then we have Force Field, and yes, the theme of this pack is tech. If an enemy ship causes one of your upgrades to be disabled or discarded, you may disable this card to roll 1 defense die. If you roll an evade, the targeted upgrade is not disabled or discarded. Yeah, that's it. You got a 3 out of 8, 37.5% chance to stop the effect. But even if you do, you've disabled this card. And if you fail, you've disabled this card and the other card. I guess it's potentially good to save something from being discarded, but this card should have been better. Should have also restrained the card trying to inflict the problem, right? Whether that was force that card to be discarded, force that card to be disabled, put time tokens on that card. I don't know what the response is, but it should have been better than this. Then we have auto navigation, and I talked about it earlier, but yeah, adding a tech slot. You don't need to have a captain card assigned to your ship. Your ship has a skill of 2. Ooh, yay. When you reveal your chosen maneuver, you may disable this card to change that maneuver to any green maneuver on your ship's dial. I struggle to find the use for this card. I suppose there's some good over not having a generic captain, but I'm gaining 1 captain skill point. And I guess 1 time, because I'm probably not re-enabling it, I can change to any green move on my dial. And for my trouble, I'm paying 2 points. I'm getting a tech slot, but I'm filling a tech slot. So again, that's a tough trade-off for me. It feels thematic to put it on Dauntless. There's some other times that it works, right? I could put it on Voyager, and that might feel thematic. But short of that, I just find myself not really seeing the value in this card. And then the last card here is Power Distribution Grid. Again, 2-point tech. During the activation phase before you move, you may discard this card to disregard your chosen maneuver, perform one of the turn maneuvers on your maneuver dial, and that's a red turn. which I guess makes sense because it's immediately before you move, and it's so you have more information than you did. But for the most part, I find myself going, well, if I knew that I was going to turn, I would have planned to turn. If I'm reacting to something unexpected, I, I probably don't want a red turn because I still want an action to deal with it. Which means I'd rather just take something like Forest, Strickler, Jadzia Dax, any of the other numerous extra movement cards that are in the game. So, yeah, what does the Dauntless pack boil down to? It boils down to this. You want it for lure. You maybe want it for the ship. And after that, I don't find value in the tech. Yeah, there's maybe some weird ways you can use stuff, but no, there's really not. And I think that's the place to end it. So, uh, yeah, Dauntless, probably a pass in my mind. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, keep brushing up your game. Take care.